You're listening to Audiology. Support this channel by becoming a member and be sure to submit your requests for topics in the comments below. By the end of 1779, the British had faced setbacks in their strategic plans in the American Revolutionary War. They had lost a significant battle when John Burgoyne's army, coming down from Quebec, was defeated by American forces under Horatio Gates at the battles of Saratoga. This defeat was a turning point, convincing France and Spain to enter the war on the side of the Americans. Another British attempt, led by Sir William Howe to take Philadelphia, the revolutionary capital, had only partial success. After taking over as the chief British commander in America, Sir Henry Clinton decided to pull back his troops to New York City, bracing for a possible attack by combined French and American forces. Faced with the challenge of George Washington's cautious Fabian tactics and under pressure to secure a victory, the British shifted their focus to the south, launching what is known as the Southern Strategy. Believing that the southern colonies had a strong base of loyalist support, the British expected local support to significantly bolster their efforts. The campaign began with the capture of Savannah, Georgia, in late 1778. Even after a failed Franco-American attempt to take back Savannah, the British set their sights on Charleston, South Carolina, planning to use it as a launchpad for further operations in the South. In a strategic move, Clinton evacuated Newport, Rhode Island in late 1779, leaving a strong force in New York City and setting his sights on the South. On December 26, 1779, Clinton and his deputy, Charles Cornwallis, led a sizable force towards Charleston, facing a challenging journey marked by storms. By early 1780, after a series of tactical landings and maneuvers, British forces were positioned close to Charleston. Amid these military maneuvers, Clinton made a significant proclamation in 1779, known as the Philipsburg Proclamation, which offered freedom to slaves owned by patriots if they escaped and supported the British cause. This led many slaves to leave Charleston and its surrounding areas to side with the British. Among those who joined the British were black loyalists, including John Kizell, a man who had been kidnapped from Sierra Leone as a child and sold into slavery in South Carolina. After the war, Kizell was among the black loyalists evacuated by the British, and he eventually made his way back to Sierra Leone, where he played a role in a resettlement project for former slaves. Starting on April 1st, General Clinton initiated a siege, blocking any relief efforts for the city and setting up his forces just 800 yards away from the American defenses, currently where Marion Square stands. Whipple, recognizing that defending his position was impossible, decided to sink his fleet at the entrance of the Cooper River. Then, on April 8th, Arbuthnot maneuvered his 14 ships into the harbor, dodging the cannon fire from Fort Moultrie, on the same day that Woodford arrived with 750 soldiers from Virginia. To tighten their grip on the area, Clinton sent Banastre Tarleton and Patrick Ferguson on April 14th to take control of Monk's Corner. By April 18th, Lieutenant Colonel Lord Rawdon and his 2,500 troops, which included forces like the 42nd Highlanders and the Hessian von Ditfurth Regiment, had arrived, effectively encircling Charleston with British forces. Governor John Rutledge managed to escape on April 13th. A few days later, on April 21st, Benjamin Lincoln, leading the Continental forces, sought a negotiated surrender preserving their honor. Clinton, however, refused this proposal. 2 days later, Lord Cornwallis crossed the Cooper River with additional forces, cutting off any potential escape routes. On April 25th, local civilians, alongside Christopher Gadsden, blocked any attempts by Lincoln to withdraw his troops. Following this, on May 6th, Tarleton secured a victory at the Battle of Leonard's Ferry, while British siege efforts had progressed enough to breach the canal defenses in front of Charleston. Fort Moultrie fell without resistance on May 7th. The next day, Clinton demanded an unconditional surrender from Lincoln, who still tried to secure the honors of war. By May 11th, after heated shots fired by the British resulted in fires in the city, and with citizens including Gadsden urging him, Lincoln saw no choice but to discuss terms of surrender. On May 12, Lincoln officially surrendered 3,371 troops to the British. The news of Charleston's fall spread rapidly, leading to the American forces at 96 and Camden in South Carolina to also surrender to the British, marking a significant series of events during the struggle. The British achieved a significant victory, capturing around 5,266 prisoners, securing 311 artillery pieces, and taking a considerable haul, including 9,178 artillery rounds, 5,916 muskets, 33,000 ammunition rounds, 15 regimental colours, 49 ships, 120 boats, and supplies of flour, rum, rice, and indigo. After the surrender, the captured weapons and supplies were moved to a storage area. Despite warnings from a Hessian officer that some guns might still be loaded, his concerns were ignored, and a mishap with a loaded gun caused an explosion. This accident set off 180 barrels of powder and discharged 5,000 muskets, killing around 200 people and destroying 6 houses. The captured soldiers were then dispersed to different locations, including prison ships and holding facilities, with the majority ending up on prison hulks. Only the militia and civilians who pledged not to fight were released on parole. This event marked the end of a significant American army in the South. This defeat was devastating for the American effort, representing the largest surrender of American forces until the 1862 surrender at Harper's Ferry. It effectively left the South open to British control, as there was no substantial American army left to oppose them. The British then tightened their grip on the South, especially after pushing out the remaining Continental Army troops from South Carolina following the Battle of Waxhaws. When the American forces surrendered, they were not given the traditional military honors, a gesture that General George Washington remembered. He ensured the British were treated the same way during their surrender at the Siege of Yorktown, stating, "The same honors will be granted to the surrendering army as were granted to the garrison of Charlestown." After the victory, Clinton returned to New York City on June 5th, leaving Lord Cornwallis in charge of the Southern Theater, with orders to squash any opposition in North Carolina. However, the British victory at Charleston soon showed its strategic flaws. The expected support from Loyalists did not materialize, making it hard for the British to maintain control outside main cities. This led to a period of guerrilla warfare in South Carolina, signaling that the British strategy had backfired, enabling resistance to continue outside the key urban centers. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more content.